is that a lot of people in the kind of consciousness space, whether that's meditation or psychedelic renaissance or you name it, but people who are sort of saying, hey, our answer is elevated consciousness. And I think they are absolutely right. If we take a look at all the trend lines of what's happening in the material world, most of them go off a cliff sometime in the next 3 to 5 decades or sooner. And the only sort of asymptote, the only sort of Hail Mary, can we actually pull this off against all odds play, is some substantial and nonlinear upleveling of human consciousness and collaboration, right? Such that that war on sensemaking, right, becomes massive collaboration. And we actually we boost our collective intelligence and coordination. And no matter how cynical you are about the state of Western democracies, if you assign some heightened capacity to higher stages of consciousness, and even like multidimensional awareness and the universe and information theory, you can take whatever level of wild ass guesses as to the nature of reality. Let's say you're really far up that stack. Still, all of it is mediated by these meat suits in 3D, right? Until further notice, consciousness is animated via cognition, and bodies and brains and hearts and lungs and oxygen. And every time, and no matter what our views are of this life and other lives, there's, with rare exceptions of like Tibetan tulkus and lamas who, claim to have recollection of prior incarnations. Basically, when we lose these meat suits, it's a cold reboot and we lose all the data, at a minimum. So the question is that where else would you choose to park your meat suit to engage in all of those higher level pursuits, explorations, even objectives, other than in a civil society with rule of law, civil rights, and protection of private properties? So you can be as cosmic and out there in your philosophies, cosmologies, ontologies, and you would still quite rationally come back around to being a highly engaged citizen that does give a shit about your vote and does give a shit about what's happening. Because the key is, obviously, how do we go from rivalrous, egocentric, ethnocentric, game A dynamics, which is arguably the sort of inheritance of Homo sapiens, right? The ape who knows, but also the ape who games, the ape who is working to win, right? To what Johann Huizinga, the Dutch theorist, called Homo ludens, right? The playful ape, the ape who is playing the infinite game. And the infinite game is really only accessible not from an ego-ethnocentric level of consciousness, but from a global-centric level of consciousness. And that's the critical move. How do we move as many people as possible from ego-ethnocentric to global-centric as fast as possible? And there's something really interesting about those developmental moves, which is that it's a skip-level play. So the only way that a baby gets to develop egocentrism, right? Because when a child is born, they're in just fusion. So they've been in the womb. Me and mommy are the same organism. I have no separation. I come out of the womb. I'm attached to the teat, right? I'm hugging. I am just this blob, and I am absolutely connected to that heartbeat and that love and all of those things. And then egocentrism comes online when I realize there's me and there's not me. There's mommy and me. And that is how the terrible twos come online. I'm like, I am a free agent. I can do things. I can move things. I can bend things to my will. Hot damn. So the only way we get to egocentric is to realize there is someone that's not me. The only way we get to ethnocentric is to go a level beyond that and realize there's someone that's not us. They're those smelly bastards across the river that talk funny and dress funny and don't deserve what they've got, and we're going to take it. The only way to get to global-centric is to realize there is something or someone that's not human. So we have to glimpse a cosmocentric perspective in order to annex a global-centric stance.